the the most interesting thing is everyone wants to use it for free. Nobody wants to pay for anything. So that's the most interesting thing. Everyone likes it. They see the value. They see that okay, we can make a lot of money out of it. But they want to use it for free. They want it for free. They just want to acquire everything and just start selling themselves. So that's the biggest interesting thing that we have discovered in the past 3 months. We have had interviews with a lot of companies, a lot of founders, big conglomerates. They have a lot of use cases for Data Copilot, but they are still in this disbelief or this illusion that what they own has more worth than any other startup. So they just take these things for granted.
Hi everyone, I'm Audrey and welcome to another episode of the Mini CEO podcast. So today I am collecting founder stories, and this is Qaim here. And
Hello everyone.
yeah, and I like to give the audience some introduction where how we met. So I think we met last November. During the Antlers cohort in Malaysia, and I think we worked together during the cohort where you were working on the Data Copilot and I'm working on Twin.ai, and I'd like you to share with us what's your background and what got you into working on Data Copilot.
Actually, that's an interesting story. I actually started my work career with a startup. While I was in the university, one of my instructors, we were actually trying to build something like a social media replacement, but with an image processing extraction from the images. For example, right now, I don't see many startups like this, but let me give you a brief introduction. It was called Bubble Hype. It was started in Kentucky University in the USA, and the startup was about the major pain for the image conversation. For example, we usually take group photos and we tag every person, but we don't really know where the person is and what is the topic. So there is like a huge thread of conversation going on the side of the image, and it's really hard to follow. So our idea was to actually tag and crop different parts of the photo, tag them, and the conversation starts within it. We used to call them bubbles, and you can actually understand that which portion of the picture has how much traffic. So it was converting one huge image into multiple points of interest. So that was the idea. My instructor found that I was one of the key students who was actually using AI and image processing in various projects, and he saw my potential and hired me into the project. And this was the first cohort of the acceleration I started working, and that actually got me an idea into entrepreneurship, working in a field where you own something of your own, and moving forward to graduation and then starting my job with one of the biggest companies, IBM. I was part of Watson research team. So after working with conglomerates, you understand that the ownership on the projects is very little, but there is a huge upside to working with conglomerates is the culture. You get to meet a lot of very intelligent and smart people. You work in collaborative teams, so there is upside to both, and you need to experience that. And after working with a lot of conglomerates, I moved forward to major US companies. I worked with Circana, I worked with News Corp, and all of them are very major companies and do a lot of stuff. But you can see the hierarchical structure. They're very professional, very process-oriented rather than people-oriented. And when you compare that to startups, the startups are usually people-oriented. They work with the clients. They try to give something to people, public, and bring something new to the world. So they are like innovators, but they are also inventors, they are also creators, they are also marketers, they are also socializers. So there are a lot of faces, a lot of hats that a startup person needs to wear. And that actually intrigued me always. And with my co-founder in this company, I worked with a few other startups before. It's always like you try a lot of things, you fail fast, and then you move forward. And now we are here with I would say our first big success of actually getting funded by Antler. And just on these 2 weeks, we have presented the idea and created something, validating something which was not present before. So that's my quick journey in the field of entrepreneurship, a bit of my background.
That is a great story because during university you started out working on a cool idea. It's like a startup idea, and then you venture into IBM, and the corporate life,
Yeah.
right, suck you in.
Yeah.
And then after that, now you are back into the startup game again.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your new startup, like the Data Copilot, right? So like how did you get into this, where did you find the idea from? You have a co-founder, so how did you work it out and get the funding?
Okay, so there are two aspects. One is what got me inside it, and the second one is how did we start this particular startup. First of all, I have been working in the data science field for past 12 years, and my whole life was always about data and different types of data, processing it, managing it, extracting value from it, transforming it. And so it was always about data. I used a lot of different algorithms. I worked with a lot of companies, a lot of clients around the world. I have more than 100 clients that I worked with in various fields. So that's part why I chose to be in the data startup. And the second, it's actually an interesting story because my founder, like I told you, that we worked on a few startups before, and he was actually with me in IBM. He was part of another team, and we were the only two people who used to just stay late after work, not working, but actually discussing a lot of ideas and what we can do. We had this itch that we want to get out of this corporate life. And before starting it, my co-founder just called me because I have worked with him on various other things. He still gets a lot of things done by me. So he just called me at like, okay, I have a few ideas. What do you think? I want to get out of this corporate life for good. What do you think if I present to you like 6 ideas and you tell me that how possible are they in building and how valuable are they for your field or for any other public person? And that's how Data Copilot comes in. As a background of data science, the biggest challenge of managing data was always actually finding the correct information. You have a lot of data. Everyone claims to have a lot of data, and they think that data is the... You have seen all of those prose, phrases, idioms. Data is the new oil, black, gold. I don't know. I have seen them so much. But there is one funny quotation that I remember. I don't know who said it, but it was like, "In God we trust, the rest of all bring data." It was a funny one because that's what happens. That you need to, whenever you need to make a decision, when you need to justify something, you need to bring justice or you need to bring some value. You need to understand the historical data. The biggest challenge was to find the right information, where it lies. And when you all claim to have billions of terabytes and petabytes of data, how do you find that information? For example, I want to make something very small and there's a huge amount of data. That's already overwhelming. How do I find this information? So Data Copilot comes in, which actually augments this one particular task very efficiently. It actually maps the whole infrastructure of your data into one place and brings you an agentic AI to help you navigate through data. So that's how you do it. You have a lot of information in your data, but you want to build a sales forecasting model. So what are the right attributes for this, and how effective are they? How accurate are they? The models or the prediction that you will bring, what is the probability of that occurring the next year? So that's what Data Copilot helps you with. It maps all the data and that helps you answer all of these questions within the data, and we ensure data privacy. We don't, first of all, you cannot give agents this huge amount of information, so you have to find a way, and that's what we are doing. We are actually making this whole infrastructure around the Copilot, the agent that helps communicate between the data without exposing any information to the LLMs. So that's a quick story of Data Copilot.
That's great. That's amazing. I saw your the prototype video that was posted on LinkedIn, and I find it very interesting. Is that now that I can, have all my files maybe in Excel, in Google Sheets, everywhere, or in MySQL, wherever it is, I can just grab all those files, drop it into Data Copilot, and then it will give me the insights, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, it you drop them in, it will connect all of these resources, create this map, and helps you understand that, okay, what are the values you have in your data, how you can communicate like a normal person, like a normal human being, like, okay, I want to make a prediction model. What do you think? It will have this conversational, it will have this consultation like you do have with an expert, which has understanding of the complete information. So that's how it works.
I think that's the beauty of like the AI with the natural language programming processing, like NLP. You can just talk like a normal, just like how you are a consultant, just like how I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
And then you just the Data Copilot, it just produces a prediction dashboard or anything like that for me, right?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
amazing. At what stage would you say your startup is currently at? Like, besides that, what are the challenges you face right now?
Right now, we are actually moving pretty fast. This wasn't planned outcome to be really fast, because first of all, this whole dashboard was an intricate thing. I am a data scientist, my co-founder is a completely business guy, so we had this small disconnection that how would we bring this front end or the user experience to the users. This was the biggest challenge, and lucky for us, one of my past colleagues, I just discussed this idea with him that, okay, I want to build this. Recommend me something, technologies or anything that I can bring this technology to a better user experience. And happened to be, he actually worked in that particular field of making these nodes and making this user interface really beautiful. And we ended up partnering with him on terms that, okay, we will hire you on our team and we will bring this front end or the user experience from you, and I will connect the back end and the programming and everything. So right now we are going to launch a soft version without the Data Copilot on 28th of February. We have the first light version complete, which includes the Google Docs, SQL, all the spreadsheet and tabular information that you usually have as a normal day-to-day work. And you can actually have all of this conversation with it. So it's like all the spreadsheets on steroids. You can extract information, you can group information, and you can make these pipelines. And then you can create visualizations and port this data or migrate this data into a transformed version. And by the end of March, we have already built the Data Copilot and the logic behind it. Now the task remains is connecting this front end platform, which is also a drag and drop tool, with the Copilot. So it understands the tool itself. The position, the complexity is as the Data Copilot is not just a conversational agent, it's an action agent. So it needs to bring all of those nodes and all of that logic on the platform so it can connect different things. So it needs to have access to all of this information, very precise points, very precise inputs and outputs, how to connect different things, the logic of connection, and it needs to understand the user interface as well. So that's why we are pushing it to the end of March, so the both of them are working in synergy. And that is actually a pretty good timeline to us. So yeah, we are hopeful. Best of luck to us.
Cool. Yeah, that's amazing. And so speaking of which, building a product, I think you move really fast, and I can see that by the end of March, you say that you will have the product ready, and I like to dive a little bit into like using AI, because we're building an AI startup. So I'm
Yeah.
just very curious about that. How would you think? Was it easy to build the product with AI integrated with it?
Well,
What's your challenge here?
yeah, the AI part. So it happens to be that you can actually make an expert person work really fast, just making them challenged by AI. So that's the interesting part. So what happened? It's a very funny and interesting story. So we were designing all of these ideas and how this platform will look and how much time would take. So I got curious that okay, why are we taking so much time? Because initially our deadline was end of June, and now it's end of March. It's like 3 months ahead. And I was like, why it's taking so long? So I will just use AI and see that what I can do. Why it's so? What I did was it took me like 2 hours to make this whole framework and 2 or 3 nodes working together, everything in place. And I just showed that to this person that I was talking to. I was like, I did that in 2 hours and I never coded in React or TypeScript ever. And there were bugs, of course, but as a developer, I can see those bugs and I can fine tune them, even if the language I don't really know. Why is taking you so much time? And it took it as a challenge. I was like, okay, I will make it better because this code is absolutely crap. Because the problem with the agentic models is that if you understand the technology behind it, and for me, my first work was an actual first of a kind LLM. Watson was the first LLM. It was trained on the Wikipedia data to beat Jeopardy, and then they enhanced it. And it was in 2015, 10 years ago. So it was technically the first LLM. And I know the technology behind it. So the problem with a human mind and the chatbot is that a chatbot doesn't understand a lot of context, and a lot of confounders exist, that how to bring this code to this particular platform, this particular browser. It can accelerate work if you give it very specific information, like, okay, I want to make this particular table, bring me this. Now you don't have to code it, it augments and accelerates your tasks really fast. So that's a very big upside to using different agents, and we all use them in every day. And that's how even my team is not using different agents as much as I want them. In a way, I understand them, because the work of an agent contradicts with an actual real world work and architectures, and you can bring a lot of different modules from it. So it has accelerated work really fast. But when it comes to debugging and finding the errors, and I mean not the syntactic errors, which they are very good at finding, but the logical errors, they actually struggle a lot. And that's where a real human comes in. And we have to, if I have to write my own code, it would take me less time than to start debugging a code from an agent. So that's kind of a challenge, and it is improving with the latest 3.7 Sonnet. They have improved a lot, but still the challenges exist. You give them the bugs, they will keep on repeating themselves, but still it has accelerated work really, really well.
I think they just released the Claude code
Yeah,
yesterday, or
yeah,
I think this week,
yeah.
right?
That's the Sonnet
That is
3.7. Yeah,
yes, exactly, and I think it's pretty interesting that what you have said just now is that yes, they are very good at debugging or finding errors in your code, but actually, I think it still comes down to human expertise or experience where if you are a software developer or data engineer, you know what kind of a logic you
yeah,
want
yeah,
to build for your product, right? But
yeah,
I think there's some part of this that requires creativity
yeah.
or human side of matching that to the real world problem, like you said, is still missing within these LLMs, right?
Yeah, and that's where you come in, and that was the idea that I really liked about you, because I had a lot of conversation with David, and David also agrees with me that okay, LLMs and they are good in documentation, they're good in finding errors which are syntactic, but when it comes to logical errors, they struggle really badly, and it's just a matter of time that this technology will come in, and that's where you stand out. Swing.ai. Rooting for
AI.
Swing.ai.
Yes, the future of engineering,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I would like to
absolutely.
say that. But yeah, I like that we have that as a startup founders. We have all these crazy ideas,
Yeah,
creativity that we want to create value for the market.
yeah,
And I think this is where human is still needed. Where AI, yes, there might be a singularity coming on
yeah.
with AGI, ASI,
I don't
but
believe so, but yeah.
but yeah, that's why we call our product. We say we are building an AI twin, right?
Yeah,
Because twin is like we're going to be as equal as AI as a human, because I don't call it AI agent. The reason why is because we're treating it like a tool now, yes, but in the future, in the next few years, it's gonna be smarter than us. I do believe that.
you know, the smartness or the intelligence doesn't come from understanding a lot of information, but actually making the best out of the limited information that you have. So I am a bit biased when you call them intelligent. They have a lot of information, and they are intelligent in a way, in some way, yes, because they can understand a lot of information. They have storage and everything, and human beings lack all of it. But intelligence comes from creativity as well, from logic, from emotional intelligence, from understanding the situation, understand even in a coding platform, understanding the crucial aspects, what to build first, what to deprioritize, what is the portion that I need to connect with this, and what is the logic behind it based on my infrastructure, based on different teams, based on my customers. So, you know, there are a lot of these aspects which are really hard to feed to an AI agent and explain it to them and then do it. You can understand all of it, and then you can ask a very specific coding. Yes, coding is intelligent, but there is a lot of other intelligent stuff that a human person do rather than just coding. When you're writing a code, when you're building an application,
I
for
agree.
example, imagine just we are discussing this idea with about the data copilot and giving to Claude, and okay, I want to build something like this. It would never come up with something like, okay, you need to have a platform where the drag and drop tools would exist, and there should be a chatbot which can integrate and contact. I mean, you know, this process, that's intelligent, but that part is kind of plagiarized intelligence. I won't really, I'm a bit biased, but anyway, coming back to you.
It's all right. But for me, it's because like a human, maybe in their lifetime can only get one PhD in a certain
Yeah.
subject, right? But for AI, in the future, in the next few years, it's gonna be so smart that it's gonna have like 5 PhD or 10 PhD in just one AI that you know of, and that's mind blowing for me, and that's why I just think that we need to work hand in hand
Yeah,
with an
yeah,
AI,
yeah,
because our brain is just that much of a capacity. Like I don't have enough brain juice to process everything too, right?
yeah.
So that's why we came up with this idea of doing the AI. Is that it came out from the originate from the idea of like pair programming with an LLM. And yeah, we are working on this, like trying to capture humans' thought process as well, and the progress of working on it with David, like you said. Yeah. Um, on the other hand, I like to ask you about your founder's journey, right? So far, it's been a few months. So, mm, what are the most interesting things that you find during this founder's journey of yours?
the the most interesting thing is everyone wants to use it for free. Nobody wants to pay for for anything. So that's the most interesting thing. Everyone likes it. They see the value. They see that okay, we can make a lot of money out of it. But they want to use it for free. They want it for free. They just want to acquire everything and just start selling themselves. So that's the biggest interesting thing that we have discovered in the past 3 months. We have had interviews with a lot of companies, a lot of founders, big conglomerates. They have a lot of use cases for Data Copilot, but they are still in this disbelief or this illusion that what they own has more worth than any other startup. So they just take these things for granted. And the challenge is to find the right person to sell it to, the right person to collaborate with, the right person to have a business strategy with. So this is the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge right now is identifying people. Because for the technology, for the user experience, for the actual value of the product, it's half of the journey. The rest half is people skills.
How do you sell, right?
Yeah, how do you sell? How do you convince? How do people perceive you even without Data Copilot? Even if it doesn't exist, how people communicate with you? What is your standing point and status in the community? So that is the challenging part for every startup. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even though your co-founder, shout out to Ali, right? Your co-founder, he's a business guy. I've seen him do the work, like how he sell, and he's amazing at it. And I think a lot of startups, when you ask, okay, what do you want to use your AI for? Is it to replace your repetitive task, or be a sales agent for you trying to close a sales for you or close a deal? And a lot of people go for like, oh, I want my sales agent to actually close a deal. That's why there's so many chatbots for shopping agent, where it tries to close a deal for you, right? But I think all this is still a very on the surface, where
Yeah.
you still need a human touch. Okay, fine. If a chatbot or a shopping agent tells me that, okay, this is the product that suits you the most from this shop, for example, Uniqlo, but you still, when you touch it or you feel it, you still need some people to convince you how you look good or feel good in this.
How many times have you bought something? For example, you are trying something and you're with a friend and he just complimented, oh, this looks really good on you.
I'll definitely buy
Yeah.
it.
That is the sales skill. And in a startup, every single founder needs to have that kind of skill. For example, do you know how IBM used to sell computers? IBM became a status symbol back in the 90s. It was a huge, chunky, bad-looking computer. Like, you have an IBM. Right now, that's Apple, right? How many times have you bought an Apple product because all of your friends has an Apple? That was the same time with BlackBerry. And these skills, these are public skills. They're people skill. How do they market to other people? How a person convince another person to buy something? I have convinced a lot of my friends to buy watches because I like them. They were like, okay, I want a watch too. Can you give me I'm not a watch salesman at all. But I have made a lot of profit from selling watches because my friends wanted it and they wanted my opinion that, okay, can you get me a good watch? I have this budget. I mean, I have never worked in watch sales ever. So that's how marketing works.
Like what we have talked about, right? It's just like, okay, with AI is booming and is infiltrating the entire market. But I think where human stands out is where you still have so much value to provide
Yeah.
as a salesperson.
Yeah.
I think that's where if AI is gonna take your job, or whether it's like software developers or anything like that, where the internet is talking about, is replacing human. But I think where people should dive into is the job that you might hate in the beginning, but it provides so much value to the economy or the people
Yeah.
around you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the biggest thing is to actually embrace all of these technologies and use it to your own benefit. Like you said, there is a huge amount of information that our brains cannot fathom, and that's where these agents are really good at processing a lot of information. So you can now work with a lot of information, add the creativity of a human person with this connection, with this personal touch, with this warmth, which a bot lacks, but you can actually be like a connector, be like a bridge between these two, and I mean, you will be unbeatable.
Exactly. So I think we're at almost time now.
Yeah.
That I have a last question that I like to ask you. So the Mini CEO podcast. So we're on this channel, and I like to bring founders who I interview into our channel here and to share about their journey. So that's what we talked about earlier, and I like you to ask, like, if you as a founder, if you have any ask for your startups. It's like a founder support group that our audience who hear you, whoever who knows your value and wants to give you some support, whether it's to connect you to a market, or they have some opinions or ideas to share with you. So what would be that ask from you as a founder and to the audience?
Okay, so at this stage, we are focusing on the product and it will be ready in the next 2 months. So we would like to have two things. One is actually to have a very great user experience. So we will offer the demos like alpha and beta testing. So people in the domain of data science, AI, even startups who want to build new products, they can use our platform and actually really stress test it, that what fails, what are the different things. So this is the first part that we will need support from a lot of people in order to just stress test it, use it, give us an honest feedback. Even if you don't like the color scheme or anything, just give us these feedback and we would be great. We would really love to address those issues because it's about people who will be using it, and data scientists, AI managers, startups, founders who are going to build different things and pipelines, they will be using it. So it would be a great thing. And the second would be helping us in sales as well. Although we have a good network in the USA and in GCC region as well, but if you find any opportunity around you, people who are looking into such technology, who are struggling with their data and want to incorporate these things, I mean, it would be a great addition, and we can have a partnership sort where we can be together and maybe combine our products and sell them something. So these would be the two things that we can benefit from really well.
That is amazing. I'm sure there are people who love to
Yeah.
test your product. I think I'm the first one who
Lovely.
wants to just drag and drop every of my files and ask your bot to to do the dashboard or prediction,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that brings to an end to our podcast, and thank you so much, Qaim, for coming to join this interview session. And yeah, I hope you have fun in KL in Malaysia for the rest of your stay. And yeah, thank you so much for joining.
The pleasure is all mine. It was lovely meeting you again.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.